What's up, Switzerland? It's your boy Masspike Miles, and you're locked in the Aightgenossen right here. Make sure you keep it locked. Don't go nowhere. Here.
Yeah, so fast forward to 2009. You dropped your debut solo mixtape, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Right.
What happened between splitting up with Perfect Gentleman and recording that mixtape? Were you musically active within that period, or did you have a deal that didn't work out?
I was very active. What happened was the first year of me breaking up with Perfect Gentleman.
Yeah, what led to that, by the way?
It wasn't no problems. I learned so much from Maurice Starr, you know what I'm saying? But it was just slowly. I think that I came there like right when, you know, Maurice Starr and his whole company was kind of at a standstill.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you what kind of peaked it for me. I was in school one day in the middle of class. This was like 11 a.m. or whatever time that you guys run it by. I don't know what y'all run it by. Maybe it is 11, right? It was 11 in the morning, and one of my security guards that I go on tour with comes to my school. And he comes to the school, he's like, yo, you need to come with me now. And I'm like, I need to come with you now? He's like, you need to come now. The teachers know, my parents already been called. They called the school, bloom, bloom, bloom. He's like, we have to go to the mall, you have to get some clothes. We go to the mall, get some clothes. I go back to the studio, and it's fucking cameras everywhere. Like, fucking, I'm talking about with the big fucking poles going in the sky with the, you know, news numbers on the side, and Channel 4 and 5 and fucking CNN and E! Entertainment News and shit. You know, that shit. So, what had happened was he got caught up in a scandal with New Kids on the Block that they was...
Lip syncing?
Lip syncing or some shit.
Yeah, I remember that.
Somebody named Greg McPherson was suing him for like $1 billion or half.
He claims he did all the vocals for them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I knew what it was. It wasn't per se that he did all the vocals. It's just when somebody writes a record, a producer writes a record, he might already have his backgrounds on there. And, you know, Joey McIntyre would go in, do the leads, and the other guys may not even be there, and they keep the backgrounds on and add Joey in the back with the backgrounds to kind of make it a New Kids on the Block record. Right. But that's R&B standard.
Yeah.
That's not, it's like for instance, on The Pursuit of Happiness, or on Say Hello to Forever, or on Sky Miles. I got somebody that's always in the background because it's no different from him having a trumpet, a flute, and a saxophone, or a quartet.
It gives the harmony some color as well.
Some color, some thickness, boom, because at the end of the day, sometimes it becomes redundant for me just to do my own harmonies. You know, I handle the lead, I handle a couple boom in the back, but yo, J-Rel, come put this little piece on there, put your little 2 cents. Hey, low key, put your 2 cents on it. You know, so it's industry standard. But at that time, we was going through a technology phase in music, where in the 80s, you know, we was going through a digital phase where we was transforming certain sounds into things and putting our vocals through certain compressors and certain vocal fucking transmitters and shit like that. And the normal human beings looked at it back then like how auto-tune was at first. They're like, he's going through a talk box, or he's going through a pitch correcting system, and you know, and back then it was kind of taboo, kind of cliche,
right? You
know, and but that day it made me realize, even though I was young, I had to be at that time 13, because I was in high school, my first year of high school, and you know, I realized that day that I just wanted something different, because, you know, I've always been a good judge of when something's going bad and when it's time for me to walk away. Like, for instance, like, you know, when I was on the block and I felt like it was getting too hot, and the police was coming around too much, I knew to walk away. No matter if I was getting $1,000 or $2,000 a day, I just knew that I didn't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'll sacrifice the little bit of money and start the new block up the street. Won't sell crack, I'll just sell weed, so it won't be as hot as down there.
Right, right.
You know?
Yeah.
I've always been that kind of guy, you know? But what happened in between the music was, The Perfect Gentleman and The Pursuit of Happiness was, I formed a clique. I formed a crew of people, like-minded individuals that seen the same light as me, that wanted to do something outside of just being a gangbanger or being a drug dealer. And I grabbed up the niggas I knew that didn't know how to sell drugs the right way. I picked up the niggas that you might have looked at like they was bums. You know, the dirty moms is a crackhead, you know what I mean? Moms might have AIDS and shit. I grabbed them little guys and gave them something to attach themselves to, gave them a family to attach themselves to that wasn't a gang, that was a music gang. That was a music foundation. So I formed a clique called Russia. We ended up clicking up with another clique called Fast Life, and they had an artist named Smoke Bolger in there. I started developing Fast Life and Smoke Bolger, and ended up getting Smoke Bolger a deal on Epic and Sony through Celine Bouab. And you know, Celine Bouab is actually responsible for Fetty Wap and shit like that. So, you know, that's my close friend. So we got that deal. We had our own. I had my own label at the time called 18 Entertainment, and then that kind of didn't go the right way because they gave like 10 people label deals at one time. So it went left. And then a couple years later, I ended up getting with Benzino, Dave Mays at the Source magazine. He started I ended up being a solo artist. I started doing a lot of modeling in the Source magazine and shit like that. But then Rose came to town one day. My man called me and was like, yo, he needs some weed. Cool, no pressure, I'm gonna bring it to him. Dropped it off on him. Boom. But I said to myself, I'm gonna take this opportunity and utilize this time that I have with this beautiful man to get something popping. So, you know, I pulled out some bags. I told the homie, you know, I'd really like a feature. He said, no problem, little homie. I appreciate, you know what I'm saying, you wanting to work with me, you know what I mean? And we ended up doing the feature. We ended up doing the video. And during the video, he was like, yo, Miles, you know, I'm starting this new record label called Maybach Music. I really appreciate it if you was the first artist on Maybach Music. And I looked at him and said, in my head, I said, you know, if a nigga can use his face like he's Colonel Sanders, regardless to how his music is, that is impeccable. So I looked at it from that standpoint, you know, and I said, no problem, bro. Let's get this back. And since then, you know, we became really close. You know, we were side by side for 3-4 years. I developed the media firm, the film firm, and the production firm when it came to videography and how people perceived MMG. Even all the way down to the logo. I made the logo, me and my partner.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, you know, I played an intricate part through an executive side beyond just being an artist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wanted to show him that I was worth a lot more than just actually being an artist. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, then we put out The Pursuit of Happiness, you know, 6-7 months after. Put the video on MTV. You know, and it got the support and the attention that I wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I started focusing on me and developing me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.